Something was coming down from the mountain.
I saw a black wave, 7 or 8 meters high, coming towards us.
He was swept away with his father.
He said, prepare yourself. It's likely he won't be alive.
I only had time to shut my eyes and mouth. Then I was submerged in the mud.
We heard a voice crying out for help.
I thought that the end of the world had arrived.
From the Weather Channel, this is Storm Stories with meteorologist Jim Cantori.
May 5th, 1998, Sarno, Italy. It has been raining non-stop for 36 hours in the small agricultural town located 30 kilometers southeast of Naples. A moisture-laden low-pressure system from the Mediterranean has been moving slowly across the Italian peninsula. Heavy rainfall is normal at this time of year, but this unstable territory has a history of earthquakes and landslides.
The Romans called this land Felix, a fertile and bountiful countryside.
Questa terra è molto bella, è molto dolce, ma in alcuni momenti...
This land is very beautiful, very gentle, but at times can also be brutal and pitiless.
This southern town is flanked by the Apennine Mountains and Mount Vesuvius.
Nei secoli sono stati esplosi...
Over the centuries, Vesuvius has exploded billions of tons of volcanic material, composed of pumice and lava fragments. And over time, this material has built up on Sarno's slopes.
In 1983, mudslides struck the town, causing extensive damage. This storm is different. Recent seismic activity has loosened the mountain's top layer. The steady rain has turned the thick, ashy soil into a slippery mass. Sarno's 30,000 residents are unaware the slopes are about to come crashing down. Sarno is the hometown of Roberto Robustelli. The 22-year-old is a philosophy student at the University of Naples and an aspiring photographer. His interest in taking photos began as a child.
One time I stopped in front of a photography studio and I was mesmerized. Then my father bought me a camera and I started to take pictures.
This afternoon, Roberto heads for the photography studio where he works part-time. After his shift, he plans on meeting his girlfriend in 5 months, 18-year-old Giuliana Laterza. But the weather isn't cooperating.
We had spoken by phone, and I told Roberto, look, I'll stop by if the weather improves. But it kept raining.
Around 5 p.m., a massive slab of earth thunders down Sarno's mountains. It slams into a neighborhood a few kilometers from the center of town. 2 people are killed. Local authorities alert emergency personnel. A few hours later, Roberto hears a commotion outside his workplace. He rushes into the streets.
We saw cars driving on the wrong side of the road and people were crying, "The mountain is falling down."
Robustelli ventures out into the chaos. Anxious about his family, Roberto ducks into a coffee bar to telephone home.
I finally managed to talk with my mother, who said, run away, don't come home." Then the phone went dead.
Robustelli ignores his mother's warning and sets off for home on foot. The main roads are littered with debris, and Robustelli is forced to take the side streets.
The mud had reached the streets and was dragging everything away with it. People, animals, cars, houses. I realized that something absurd and unthinkable was happening.
By 8 p.m., darkness falls. Mudslides continue to barrel down the mountain across a 5-kilometer stretch. En route home, Roberto encounters obstacles at every corner. Destruction is all around him.
You are nothing against this force of nature that had broken out all at once.
At the family's home, Robustelli's 24-year-old brother, Sabato, hears a low rumbling noise.
We found that 2.5 meters of mud outside have swallowed up half our garden.
Out on the street, Sabato sees another terrifying sight. The mud has reached the top of the streetlights in some places. His first thought is to get to people who may be trapped or injured.
When I went back home, I said, "Dad, give me your boots, and don't worry, I'll see you later."
Sabato sets out on foot, unaware he's walking into danger. Around 9 p.m., Roberto finally arrives at his front door.
I took my mother and pregnant sister to some relative's house, out of danger. Then I returned home to fetch my father and aunt.
Roberto's plan is to take them to safety further down the valley.
I said, "Dad, let's go." He answered, "If I don't find your brother, I'm not going." So I started calling out my brother's name.
Roberto's hesitation will change his life forever. Around 10 p.m., a blackout plunges Sarno into darkness. Telephone service is sketchy at best. Some residential zones are now totally isolated by mud and debris. Anxious residents await news of missing relatives. Ernesto Dello Iacono, a friend of the Robustellis, witnesses the chaos in town. The 35-year-old freelance writer is home when he hears the sludge sweep along at up to 60 kilometers, or almost 40 miles an hour.
The moment of the mudslide's impact has a very particular sensation. Your body begins to shake. At the same moment, the building shakes.
The force of the mudslide knocks houses off their foundations. Cars are crushed with a single blow. Emergency personnel mobilized to search for victims trapped in the mud.
I realized that there was every reason to be alarmed, and I tried to transmit a sense of security to my family.
Half a kilometer from the center of town, a different mood prevails. Roberto's girlfriend, Giuliana, and others are unaware of the ensuing disaster.
I had no idea what was going on that evening. I went to bed as usual, convinced I had to go to school the next day.
It was as if the front of mud had created two different cities. On our side of town, we were living inside a war zone.
The risk of being swept away at any moment is high, but residents claw through debris to search for victims. Sabato Robustelli joins in the effort and soon makes a heartbreaking discovery.
We tried to save a person. Unfortunately, we couldn't do anything because that person was in a garage that had already filled up with mud.
As Sabato searches for survivors, a 3 to 4 meter high wall of mud suddenly hits him from behind. Sabato is engulfed in its chilly depths.
I only had time to shut my eyes and mouth. I was then submerged in the mud.
The wave of muck propels Sabato forward as he struggles to keep his head above the swirling mud.
The force of the mud was tremendous. I wasn't feeling any pain. I only heard people crying out for help.
Sabato manages to escape and stumble to a nearby house. A neighbor recognizes the mud-covered figure and takes him inside. From an upstairs window, Sabato catches sight of Roberto, his father, and an aunt. He calls out to them.
We knew that he could no longer make it home, but we were happy to hear his voice.
Minutes later, the mountain unleashes another torrent of mud. Roberto, his father, and aunt are instantly swept away.
We heard a deafening sound. I heard the last cries of my father calling out my name.
Roberto is pummeled by debris and fights to keep from being sucked under the sludge.
I was being carried along on this wave of mud. I would enter inside a house and exit from a window. Then I went under.
The wave pushes him through the window of a garage and hurls him against the floor.
A few minutes later, another wave of mud came and isolated me from the world. I asked myself, why do I have to die like this? What did I do to deserve this?
23 trips to the doctor, 7 trips to the vet, 76 trips to the grocery store, 3 weekend getaways, 1 vacation with everything on it, 4 recitals, 23 soccer games, away, and back and forth to work every day in between. You depend on your vehicle for a lot over the course of a year. Make sure it stays dependable with regularly scheduled maintenance at your local Napa Auto Care Center.
Regularly scheduled maintenance at your local Napa Auto Care Center helps keep your vehicle and your vehicle's warranty in good condition.
WorldStock is a store with an overstock that carries products from the developing world. We have 35 countries that we buy products from. These are all handmade, made by families who are selling their products for the very first time, products that they have made their entire lifetime, but this is the first time they have actually found a market. So far they have been faceless and nameless people that nobody knows of their existence, but all of a sudden people buy their products and on the label there's the name of that person. Sometimes I look at the products and I see the face of the dad, the mom, the kids. As much as they love the fact that they can provide their family with better food, they also love the fact that people in the rest of the world start to know about them and they can understand them a little bit better. These are not just products, they are the stories that they tell about the people that make them. You don't know it, but you're changing people's lives. Get unique products from around the world at overstock.com. It's all about the O.
John Deere Buck ATVs for work, play, and everything in between. Pick a direction. Go.
When they're off and running, he's someone you count on. When he's on the outside, the goodness of Quaker oatmeal and calcium are on the inside. Quaker Chewy Granola Bars. Another way to get your Quaker a day.
Hydrocortisone creams work fine for a dry, itchy spot. But what if you've got more than a spot? New Cordaid Anti-Itch Lotion. It's the only maximum strength hydrocortisone treatment in an easy-to-spread lotion. Cordaid makes it better.
May 5th, 1998. Nearly 2 days of continuous rain have triggered a series of deadly mudslides in the southern Italian town of Sarna. A powerful wave of mud has trapped 22-year-old Roberto Robustelli inside the garage of a neighbor's house.
I heard the mudslides arriving from the left and from the right. It sounded like a herd of buffaloes and reeked of earth.
The wave pushes Roberto upward until he hits the ceiling. He's up into his neck in mire and struggling to breathe. The churning mud sucks Roberto under repeatedly as sharp debris slashes at his body.
I thought that the end of the world had arrived. In those moments, I had flashbacks of my life. Girls, friends, my parents, my mother. This gave me the strength to go on.
It's about 11:30 p.m. The slides have blocked several main roads, making it difficult for emergency workers to get to the hardest hit areas.
In the meantime, people had saved themselves by climbing onto rooftops. For others, their homes became their tombs.
The disaster isn't over. Nature unleashes another devastating blow on Sarno.
Verso le 23:40 una colata enorme.
Around midnight, a mudslide of gigantic proportions devastated the hospital and killed 15 people.
Facendo 15 vittime.
At least 20 people are dead and dozens are missing. Helicopters begin transporting residents to shelters. Sabato Robustelli, Roberto's brother, is one of the injured waiting for a rescue at a neighbor's house. He is suffering from a puncture wound and has lost a lot of blood. His companions climb onto the roof and light a signal fire.
Naturally, I couldn't walk. When the helicopter arrived, they could see that I wasn't on the roof and took off.
Sabato is afraid that if help doesn't arrive soon, he may die. About 150 meters away, Roberto is fighting to stay alive in the cold, shifting mud.
After all the turmoil, there was a dreadful silence. When I heard the helicopter passing at night, I was happy. I cried out, but I realized I was only wasting my energy.
Roberto grows more desperate as the hours pass. He must constantly shift his body to keep from sinking.
After a while, the mud hardened. I began to pray. In that moment, it was my only means of salvation.
The first light of dawn reveals an apocalyptic scene. The storm has passed, and roads are strewn with cars, boulders, and smashed trees. The powerful force of the mudslides has swept buildings and homes of their contents. Many residents wander the streets in shock.
We had all abandoned our homes. From that point on, we thought only of the most essential things.
Grief is mixed with confusion as survivors continue the grim task of searching the rubble for loved ones. Giuliana Letterza receives disturbing news that her boyfriend Roberto is missing.
We started to search for him. It was very difficult because you couldn't walk. The streets were closed.
Sabato Robustelli is helped to the rooftop by some neighbors. A helicopter transports him to a shelter. From there, an ambulance takes him to a nearby hospital. He's unaware that his brother Roberto has now been entombed in mud for nearly 12 hours.
I was in a precarious situation, always between falling and sinking.
In a moment of desperation, Roberto does the unthinkable.
I was thirsty. I drank my own urine. I also made it run down my body because the mud had become very cold.
For the next 48 hours, Roberto endures his personal hell as rescue teams search for him and dozens more reported missing. Rookie firefighter Mario Salatiello is on the mission. The 29-year-old has been with the Naples Fire Department for less than 2 years. He's never seen such destruction.
There was mud everywhere. Residents told us there were people, houses and cars, everything you could imagine buried underneath.
Around 4 p.m. on May 8th, the fire department receives some hopeful news.
On the streets, people told us they heard voices coming from a garage. In fact, we could hear someone crying for help.
Salatiello and his 8-man team discover the hardening mud has blocked every opening of the garage. Their next plan is to break through the concrete roof with picks. Minutes later, Salatiello gets his first glimpse of Roberto, who is encased in the hardened mud.
The thing that struck me were the eyes of this young man that were watching me, and in his eyes there was hope.
Seeing the light after all that dark was like being brought back to life.
The other firemen lower an oxygen mask down to Roberto and plan their next maneuver.
We made a hole parallel to Roberto's position. This way, we could get to him and pull him out without harming him.
A helicopter is dispatched to the scene. Luigi Criscuolo and his team hammer through the thick concrete, which threatens to fall on Roberto.
If we had made even the slightest error, we would have lost Roberto.
I tried not to get discouraged. I thought, I'm here. It happened. I just have to try to get out of here alive.
Go to Priceline now for the best hotel deals this summer. Name your own price for 3- and 4-star hotels and save up to $100 a night off other leading travel sites every night you stay. Brilliant. Only at the new Priceline.
Just when I get settled into a nice chest, I get thrown out by this guy.
Mucinex breaks up mucus that causes congestion, so you can get rid of it. And just one pill lasts up to 12 hours.
Don't push, I'm going.
Mucinex in, mucus out.
The whole notion of getting a website was just intimidating.
Who's going to design it? Who's going to host it?
And how much is it going to cost?
Introducing Website Solutions from Register.com. You can build your professional website and host it for as little as $4.95 a month. Getting your business online has never been more affordable.
Register.com makes it easy. They helped us create our site, and they host it.
And it's costing us less per month than a double mocha.
Register.com. Website solutions start at under $5 a month.
Tomorrow at 8, watch Storm Stories. A flash flood tears through this town in Mexico, leaving hundreds of terrified citizens stranded. How does the U.S. Border Control come to their rescue? Plus, one tornado takes a small town by complete surprise.
Somebody nearby was going to get hit.
Witness a first-hand account of what it's like. Watch Storm Stories tomorrow at 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on the Weather Channel.
Stuff you can do to beat the go-kart hype bar at Starland. Drop wooden blocks and stand on them real quick. Explore prosthetic enhancement. Pay siblings to stretch you in their free time. Or you can simply enjoy the other wonderful attractions at fabulous Starland. And have a birthday, and maybe another. And walk right in. Starland, Route 53, Hanover. Walk right in.
Over the last few years, we've been busy improving how you use your TV and the internet. Recently, we reached an agreement with Time Warner and Comcast that will make the future for all our customers even better still. This transaction could take up to a year to complete. In the meantime, we want to assure you that we remain committed to continued product innovation and to providing excellent value and outstanding customer service. At Adelphia, we're looking forward, and we're excited about tomorrow.
May 8, 1998. Firefighters are trying to rescue Roberto Robustelli, who has been trapped by a mudslide in Sarno, Italy. The team of 8 has hammered through concrete, and firefighter Mario Salatiello inches his way through a hole to reach Roberto.
I told him, Roberto, stay calm. If I don't pull you out, we'll be stuck in here together.
Ed ecco che viene sollevata la barella con Roberto Robustelli.
2 hours later, and after being encased in mud for 3 days, Roberto is finally pulled to safety.
È ancora vivo, ecco che parte.
I can tell you that when they found him, I was overjoyed.
Roberto is taken to the same hospital where his brother Sabato is recovering. Their mother shares her joy with the local media.
Che le ha detto come prima cosa?
Niente, con me non ha parlato.
Lei che gli ha detto?
Solo un bacio, gli ho dato solo un bacio.
Un po' pensavo alla morte perché me la sentivo vicino, forse perciò non avevo paura.
The Robustelli brothers are elated to see each other again.
E quando mi vide tutto... When he saw me so lifeless, he said, "What happened to you? I'm in better shape than you are."
But the reunion is bittersweet.
I summoned the doctor and asked him, "Where is my father?" He then lowered his head. At that moment, I knew that my father was dead.
On May 10th, 5 days after the mudslides, Sarno holds a mass funeral to mourn the dead. In all, Sarno and nearby towns lost 161 people in what the Italian media christened the Pompeii of the year 2000. After months of recovery, Roberto recounts his story to family friend and freelance writer Ernesto Dello Iacono. A book about Roberto's ordeal is later published to critical acclaim.
Nessuno ha mai avuto una visione globale di tutto.
No one has ever formed a complete picture of what happened.
La nostra tragedia non si è consumata.
Our tragedy didn't end on May 5th, but continues today.
One of the milestones on Roberto's road to recovery is picking up his camera again.
I had to grab onto the most important things of my life. After all that's happened, I know that life is a great and unique gift, and it's only right that it should be lived to the fullest.
What's the difference between a mudslide and a landslide? The answer when Storm Stories returns.
Today, you're a super painter with the amazing Wagner Wide Shot Power Painter. Fast and neat. It lets you paint up to 12 inches wide in one pass. The Power Painter. One of the ways Wagner gives you more power, because there's always something that needs painting. Wagner. Paint fast. Paint smart.
The Wagner Wide Shot Power Painter. Professional results in a third of the time.
So, what do you think? In the time it takes to take out the trash, you could save hundreds on car insurance. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Let's get campy!
New clothes are fun, but they won't save you money on car insurance.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Why haven't you called Geico?
You see an ancient source of power. At Franklin Templeton, we saw a chance to invest in what became the international leader in wind technology, generating powerful returns for our fund's shareholders. This kind of perspective has made us a leader in global investing. Franklin Templeton Investments. Gain from our perspective. Consider investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses carefully. For this and other information, get a prospectus from your advisor. Read it carefully before investing.
Natural inside-out glow is now captured for your skin in new Olay Complete Multi-Radiance. With the moisturizing Mandarin Vitamin Complex, it promotes healthy skin inside while gently illuminating it outside. For a multi-dimensional radiance that glows and glows and glows. Olay, love the radiant skin you're in.
Oh, really go places with Flonase. Allegra is approved to treat nasal and non-nasal symptoms from just one cause. Zyrtec and Claritin are approved to treat nasal and non-nasal symptoms from just two causes. Only Flonase is approved to treat nasal symptoms from all three: outdoor allergies, indoor allergies, and environmental troublemakers. For best results, use daily. Side effects are generally mild and may include headache, nosebleed, and sore throat.
I came back. I needed a refill.
Talk to your doctor about Flonase.
So what's the difference between a mudslide and a landslide? It's mainly the composition of what slides are made of. Mudslides are composed of a soggy mix of earth and water triggered by heavy rainfall. A landslide is generally a slab of earth or rock that slides intact downhill. Landslides are often caused by an earthquake, but can also be started by rain that softens the spaces between rocks, allowing it to break away. For Storm Stories, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori. Your local forecast is next.
This is the worst storm in the history of the
Zanier than Scrubs.
Welcome to the lunatic asylum.
Sexier than ER. More eccentric than Dr. House. Inject some humor into your life. Green Wing, all new comedy, Thursday at 10, only on BBC America.
I'm Alan Partridge. Saturdays at 11, only on BBC America.
We're talking about a raging river plowing through a residential area.
Benavides, ¿cuál es la situación que se presenta aquí?
Pues la situación es muy crítica, muy difícil.
We didn't know then whether the river was going to continue to come up or not.
It was pandemonium and screaming and cries for help.
Así es, que esta situación es difícil ver niños, niñas llorando, o sea, niñas de 6, 7 años llorando.
We could see dozens of people on the houses that we're their only hope.
This little girl was under the tree, and she was terrified.
From the Weather Channel, this is Storm Stories with meteorologist Jim Cantori.
April 4th, 2004, 100 miles southwest of San Antonio. A hailstorm hammers the small town of Crystal City, Texas. The golf ball-sized hail is accompanied by torrential rainfall. Streets quickly turn into fast-moving rivers. The extreme weather is a product of a large storm system that stretches 150 miles west over the Mexican border. Outside the city of Piedras Negras, it's spawning multiple storm cells that are causing heavy rain. At the U.S. Border Patrol's Air Operations Center in Del Rio, Texas, pilot Mike Allen and his co-workers are monitoring the border and the bad weather.
We were watching the radar, and we noticed there's a storm over south of here in Mexico that was just kept forming and raining.
The team of 11 pilots helped stop illegal aliens from entering the United States.
The vehicle's through the fence.
The vehicle has gone through a fence, is that right? Is it still going or stopped?
I followed it, but just pull over, they're bailing out.
Our primary mission is, of course, guarding our borders against terrorists, against anyone who may be entering the country illegally.
In the event of flash floods, these pilots sometimes rescue stranded U.S. motorists.
We are called upon because we are the only agency within 150 miles that has helicopters.
But Duncan and his team are about to put those helicopters to use in an unlikely place. By 3 p.m., 11 inches of rain have fallen in the mountain range west of Piedras Negras, Mexico. The runoff is flooding a tributary. Now, it's building into a 25-foot wall of water, and it's heading straight for the 200,000 people who live here. The local media barely have time to warn residents of the approaching flash flood. By nightfall, it's already too late for some.
¿Tu papá qué fue lo que pasó?
No sé, estaba tomando.
Aquí en el río.
No sé.
¿Se presume que se lo llevó la corriente?
Se lo llevó la corriente.
By 8 p.m., hundreds of terrified people scramble to rooftops and trees to keep above the water. Others form human chains to escape the rising flood. Mexican emergency vehicles rush toward the hardest-hit sections of the city, but there is no way for them to reach everyone. The city's main bridge is already underwater.
Pues la situación es muy crítica, muy difícil y desgraciadamente nosotros, haz de cuenta que también nos quedamos atorados.
Mexico's Emergency Response Center is overwhelmed with desperate callers. Many Mexicans turn to the U.S. Border Patrol for help. Agent Randy Clark fields dozens of calls.
You could just hear the panic in the voices. This was a genuine request for help. And right away, the community realized that the method that was needed to perform these rescues was of an air operations nature.
Only one obstacle stands in their way: bureaucracy. Piedras Negras Mayor Claudio Brace is trying to cut through the red tape.
The problem I got, it was trying to convince the Mexican federal authorities to let them cross into our country.
By 10 p.m., Mayor Brace decides to ignore Mexican authorities. He makes a critical decision.
Posible que él venga, no nos preocupa en este momento tanto, sino el apoyo de helicópteros y viendo algún tipo de ayuda de helicópteros de la Unión Americana, aunque andamos buscando civiles.
Chief Pilot Drew Duncan is finally given the go-ahead. Within minutes, 5 pilots board 2 separate helicopters and take off for the 50-mile flight. The men are concerned about conducting a large-scale rescue mission into unfamiliar territory.
I had a feeling it was going to be pretty bad. I've never flown in Mexico. And, it's dark, it's at night.
Their anxiety only increases when they reach Piedras Negras.
I was extremely worried. Power was out in that area and people were in trees and they were on houses and rooftops. It was pandemonium and screaming and cries for help.
14 city blocks are almost submerged under the 20-foot deep flood, and the water is climbing higher. Antonio Hernandez, his wife, and 4 children are trapped on the roof of their 2-story house.
I thought everything was over for us. I said, that's it.
The rising water forces the Hernandez family to seek safety in 2 trees next to their roof. Antonio and 2 of his daughters, ages 11 and 13, find space in one tree, while Antonio's wife, Elida, makes her way up another, along with the couple's third daughter, 9-year-old Alejandra, and their 6-year-old son. But in the raging current, even this is not a safe refuge.
I saw how the tree folded over. I saw how my husband and my daughters fell. I heard them yelling.
Elida watches as the flood carries off her husband and 2 of her daughters. Grief-stricken, the 39-year-old mother loses all hope of surviving. She says a tearful goodbye to her young son.
I kissed his face many times. He knew he was going to die. I told him, son, your father and sisters are gone. They're dead. Now it's our turn.
Before Elida can say anything to her 9-year-old daughter, a huge wave slams into their tree. Mother and son fall into the raging river. 9-year-old Alejandra is left alone at the top of the tree. The frightened child signals for help, hoping to get anyone's attention. By 11:30 p.m., U.S. Border Patrol pilots arrive at a checkpoint in Mexico. Mario Coronado, a Mexican police officer, comes aboard to guide them. Many of his fellow officers are cut off by the flood.
I was frequently telling the pilot, look, they're calling us on the radio. They're saying that in some parts there are children trapped in trees.
He was very concerned, anxious. He knew it was bad. And he told us there was a lot of people missing.
These men are trained for surveillance, not rescue. They know they face a difficult challenge.
Usually those kind of rescues were pretty difficult in the daytime. And I wasn't really sure how we were going to pull it off at night.
2 miles into the Mexican city, Mike gets his first glimpse of the flood.
At first, it didn't look too serious to me. And then I realized that the streets were just a raging river. And that what I thought were 1-story houses, the water was all the way up to the very roofs.
Both choppers circle the perimeter of town to assess the situation. As they drop lower, crew members begin to make out the outlines of not just a few, but hundreds of people stranded on rooftops and in trees.
It was overwhelming. You know, we could see dozens and dozens of people on the houses that were just desperate. You know, we're their only hope.
I remember thinking how we were going to get all these people off.
Co-pilot Justin Edmiston is unsure if they will be able to land. With limited rescue gear, their best hope of reaching survivors is by hovering close to rooftops for victims to climb on board.
We didn't know then whether the river was going to continue to come up or not. So we initially started looking for people that were the closest to the high current.
At the high current, which is the most ferocious section of the river, the border patrolmen spot a man signaling for help. The chopper circles once more to make sure they are clear of all obstructions.
Yeah, when we came back, that tree was gone. It was just wasn't there anymore. And whoever was in it was gone.
Next, the men spot dozens of lights waving for their attention.
We saw the flashlights, and they were all pointed at this one tree.
Residents along the river's edge are aiming their beams at the tree where 9-year-old Alejandra Hernandez is trapped.
So we flew over there, and sure enough, this little girl was under the tree, and she was terrified.
We could see her in the tree, bear hugging on a branch. If that river would have come up, and she would have been in bad trouble. And that's probably was our worst fear.
Storm Stories is sponsored by Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
You email in real time. You download in broadband-like speeds. You can catch breaking updates. Only Verizon Wireless has the latest all-in-one devices with wireless sync on a network you trust. Nothing slows you down. Get your hands on the latest mobile offices like the new Trio 650, available now with a $100 instant rebate. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you.
At Ruby Tuesday, we've got a burger that comes from the sea, but tastes like it came from heaven. The Jimmy Jack's Crab Cake Burger, one of 30 famous burgers, only at Ruby Tuesday. So good, it's guaranteed.
This is cool. Yeah, it is. But Dad's got it. He's got that. Ooh. Oh, he's got that. He's got that. He's got this.
Well, hello there.
The Home Depot is full of innovative Father's Day gifts, like the Ryobi 1+ system, an entire line of powerful tools with one universal battery. For the saw, the drill, even the wet-dry vac. Get Dad started with an 18-volt drill kit with flashlight for just $79.
The Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
The way the world is today, go, go, go! Things just seem so out of control. That's why the things we can control are so important. That's why we're members of our electric co-op. The whole reason the co-op exists is to bring us the electricity we need. So they invest in the best technology you can get, just to keep the power on. And that's what matters.
Shine as Lunesta. It's finally here. And people all across the nation are discovering it. When will you ask your doctor about Lunesta?
King, the guillotine is gonna squeeze your ugly little head till it pops like a cherry tomato. You know why? Why? Because you're ugly. You're so ugly, and if ugliness were bricks, you'd be the Great Wall of China. Whoa. But don't be a little crybaby. Well, the guillotine brings you good news. What's that? I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Sunday, April 4th, 2004. It's just before midnight, and a flash flood has devastated the southwest section of the Mexican border city, Piedras Negras. With the water more than 25 feet deep, 2 U.S. Border Patrol helicopters attempt air rescues of hundreds of survivors. One of them is 9-year-old Alejandra Hernandez, who has sought refuge in the branches of a tree.
There was no way that we could get up under to her without endangering her or risking a blade strike on a helicopter.
Pilot Drew Duncan and his 4-man team must face the reality that there is no safe way to reach the desperate child.
You have to fight that emotion to put yourself in an unnecessary risk at rescuing someone like that.
She waved at us a couple of times, and that's a pretty bad feeling when you can't, you know she's in danger.
We put a spotlight on her just to let her know that we knew she was there, and the first chance we were going to get, we'd have somebody rescue her.
In the meantime, the 2 choppers pick up those they can by hovering low enough for survivors to climb on board. They are dropped off a quarter-mile across the staging area, where Mexican emergency crews are waiting.
All these people are waiting to see if their family is going to be the one to get off next. That makes you want to rescue them all.
Mexican authorities are pushed to their limit. They are rescuing dozens of people from the flood. But the death toll is rising.
Bueno, mira, se está manejando ahorita 16 muertos.
¿Evacuados, mi general?
Evacuados deben de ser más de 1,000.
One family that couldn't evacuate in time is Ruben Morales, his wife Veronica, and their 2 sons, ages 6 and 2. They are trapped on top of a neighbor's house. Heavy debris is slamming into the home by the force of the rushing water.
Chunks of cement and wood would hit against the house. Cars would come and hit against the house, and the house would tremble.
The Moraleses spot the 2 Border Patrol choppers.
A helicopter was flying over us, but would do nothing. They kept flashing lights. They could see us, but would do nothing.
The family is unaware of the danger the crews face maneuvering around power lines and trees.
You see people on a roof, but there was trees all the way around it. There's no way you could get to them.
The family situation is getting more perilous. The raging current is crumbling the foundation of the house where they have taken refuge. Veronica Morales tries to calm her frightened boys.
My youngest son kept on saying, "Mom, I'm scared." He wouldn't stop trembling.
Within seconds, the entire roof collapses. The family of 4 tumbles into the fast-moving water.
The current dragged me under the water. It was the last time I saw my kids. My wife got lost. Everyone was lost.
500 yards away, Veronica and Ruben managed to pull themselves to safety onto separate rooftops. But their 2 sons die in the flood.
Lo más triste fue que no hubo ni un abrazo, ni un beso.
The saddest part was that there was no hug or kiss, no goodbye, just tears, pain, sadness, seeing how they were being dragged through the water, their scared faces.
Sus caras de miedo.
On board one of the Border Patrol choppers is Mexican police officer Mario Coronado. He and the U.S. crews feel helpless against the power of the flood.
Muy feo, sientes te traumas.
You feel traumatized because you can't help everyone at the same time.
Tenemos que ir sacando de.
We would grab people in pairs.
Also hampering rescue efforts is the loss of electricity across much of the city. In the darkness, pilots must be on alert for another danger, radio towers.
I remember my co-pilot yelling out, "There's a tower," but it was probably a 300-foot tower. And due to the electricity outage, there were no lights in that tower. At that point is when I realized that, you know, these hazards are real.
One of the choppers hovers over an unidentified woman clinging to a rooftop. Officer Coronado makes a bold move to help rescue her.
One of the police officers was with us, crawled out of the helicopter and up the pitch of the roof and got her, and then they crawled back over and then into the aircraft. That one was pretty scary. The thought of her falling off the roof or walking into the helicopter blades was pretty nerve-wracking.
You forget about your fear. All you want to do is help, and get as many people out as you can.
By 1 a.m., the U.S. Border Patrol has managed to rescue only about a dozen people. Many survivors mention the situation of 9-year-old Alejandra Hernandez, still clinging to a tree.
Every time we landed to drop people off, people were telling us about the girl in the tree.
The two choppers head back toward Alejandra, hoping to find another way to reach her. The water level has dipped below 20 feet, and the raging torrent is slowing down. Finally, after 3 hours, the Mexican Red Cross is able to get a boat safely in the water and approach the girl. But floating rubble, tree branches, household appliances, and even cars are knocking into the tree that's sheltering Alejandra. Drew Duncan realizes that it may be too late for the stranded child.
There were cars wrapped around trees, inside buildings, on top of buildings, a lot of downed power lines, and of course a lot of debris floating down the river. Our concern was if any debris floated down and stacked up against that tree, but it could snap over.
You email in real time. You download in broadband-like speeds. You can catch breaking updates. Only Verizon Wireless has the latest all-in-one devices with wireless sync on a network you trust. Nothing slows you down. Get your hands on the latest mobile offices like the new Trio 650, available now with a $100 instant rebate. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you.
Hey, Angie. Going to the post office?
Post office?
Angie, post office, 3 seconds.
No matter how many packages you need to send, you don't have to go to the post office. Just log on to USPS.com. Pay postage, get insurance, print labels, and we'll pick them up for free.
Shh, I'm at the post office.
Just one more way the U.S. Postal Service is working for you.
Indications are right for tornadoes in this residential area.
I never used to think that I took life for granted. I know now that, every moment's precious.
Storm Stories, an original series, every night, 8 Eastern and Pacific, on the Weather Channel.
Okay, we're going. Adelphia High-Speed Internet can make your summer even better. Whether you use it for planning your summer vacation, finding the gear you need for your adventure, sending photos to your friends and family when your vacation is through, or just to do some important research, Adelphia High-Speed Internet can make it happen. Call now and get Adelphia High-Speed Internet for $26.95 a month for the first 6 months.
TV has created an awareness
for customers to experience our products
with a very clear message.
The largest possible audience.
By increasing the public awareness.
In a very cost-effective manner.
By bringing customers to our store.
We've seen a 35% increase in our sales.
Much greater impact than print media. Do it consistently and it'll pay off. The most effective way to spend your advertising dollars.
Business doubled. It's worth it.
You'll be happy with the results.
We reach your customers every day. Isn't it time you did too?
April 5th, 2004. 2 miles from the southwest Texas border, a flash flood has overcome a section of Piedras Negras, Mexico. At least 30 people are dead. U.S. Border Patrol helicopters have not been able to maneuver close enough to rescue 9-year-old Alejandra Hernandez, who's been stranded in a tree for nearly 6 hours. Finally, the local Red Cross is able to maneuver a boat into place. By 3 a.m., the exhausted girl is safely brought to shore. She is reunited with her parents at a hospital.
Con ella la miré yo. Y entonces me dio mucho gusto.
I looked at her. I was happy to see her. But that is all I saw.
Hernandez and his wife Alida lost their other 3 children in the flood.
Yo ando muerta en vida, trabajando. I am living but dead inside, just working. Yo vivo por mí. I only live for my daughter. Yo no fui al entierro de mis hijos. I didn't go to my children's funeral. I didn't have the courage.
In all, 45 people lost their lives in the flood. 6 of those victims have never been found. 300 homes were destroyed. And in spite of their limited experience with air rescues, U.S. Border Patrol pilots rescued 20 people from the storm.
If circumstances were different, we definitely would not have been flying in that environment. But when there's people's lives on the line, you know, you continue and do whatever you can to help people that are in need.
In 17 years of flying, it's the worst disaster I've ever seen. I saw a lot of things that night where 2 countries helped out each other in a desperate time.
It's kind of awkward that the U.S. Border Patrol is an entity created to stop illegal aliens coming into the U.S. In a disaster, in a tragedy, there were no borders.
We perform a mission along the border, but that mission also includes protecting the safety of the community as well.
I'm so appreciative and very thankful because I saw them risk their lives to help others in need.
What are some causes of flash floods, and how can you protect yourself from them? We'll tell you when Storm Stories continues.
How can working with the right financial advisor answer the question, will I be able to?
Will I be able to send my daughter to grad school?
Leave an estate for my kids.
Take a Mediterranean cruise?
Will I be able to build a cabin in the mountains?
Will I be able to retire without being a burden?
Take the family to the Serengeti. Will I be able to call you in 6 months and change my mind? At Wachovia Securities, our financial advisors start with your life and plan your money around it. Talk to us.
When you join National Car Rental's Emerald Club, you earn special privileges fast. For example, you get to bypass the counter and choose your own car, which gets you out of the airport fast. And the more you rent, the faster you can earn upgrades. We've also streamlined the return process, so you just drop off your car and go. You even get your choice of free rental days or airline miles, which sends you on vacation faster. National Car Rental. Faster than the speed of life.
If you have a baby, you have a continuous odor problem.
Dirty diapers, they just stink up the house. This is the oust fan. It's pretty easy to use. It's totally battery operated. You can hardly even hear it. So when the baby's sleeping, it doesn't bother her at all. It's just a nice, clean, fresh smell. It eliminates odors in the air, even from odor-causing bacteria. You don't have to smell like you live in a zoo.
Get odors out with the Oust fan. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Oust really works. It's awesome. It rocks.
Sadly, arthritis pain can make people say goodbye to the little things they love, but not people who use Aleve, whose doctors have told them the good news about the strength and safety of Aleve. The good news that only 2 Aleve can stop arthritis pain all day. That would take 8 Tylenol. Take back what arthritis pain took away. Ask your doctor about the good news. Ask your doctor about Aleve. Try Aleve Sinus and Headache for 12 hours of relief from sinus pressure and pain with just 1 pill.
Now, when you stay at Ramada, you'll earn points towards the things you really want with the largest hotel rewards program ever. Trip Rewards. It gives you more rewards more often for more fun. Ramada. Sweet dreams.
So what are some causes of flash floods, and how can you protect yourself from them? Flash floods are usually caused by prolonged or intense rainfall, also from terrain that doesn't easily absorb water, such as a desert or mountainous region. Flash floods, like the one that hit Piedras Negras, often occur within 6 hours of a rain event. If a flash flood is imminent, seek higher ground immediately. Stay away from standing water, and if you're in your car, abandon your vehicle. For Storm Stories, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori. Your local forecast is next.
Currently in your area, 80 degrees, under partly cloudy skies. The forecast for your area. Your extended forecast.
Close enough that somebody nearby was going to get hit.
It's like a big giant ant coming down and just ripping it all out.
The roofs would go up and go down as they were struggling to stay attached.
The glass broke in the living room and everything was flying.
Cars were still spinning on their tops. There wasn't a tree standing.
I just have time to come to a realization that, we're gonna die.
From the Weather Channel, this is Storm Stories with meteorologist Jim Cantori.
The rural town of Siren, Wisconsin has seen a number of tornadoes over the years. But unlike the notorious Tornado Alley to the south and west, the twisters here are seldom deadly.
They don't really cause a whole lot of damage as a rule. A shed of a chicken house goes off, or wood shed, something like that. So there's not really that great concern of devastation.
All that changed on June 18th, 2001, when one tornado took Siren completely by surprise. Siren is located about 90 miles northeast of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and surrounded by some of the best hunting and fishing country in the Midwest. Like many of the town's 900 residents, Police Chief Dean Rowland and his wife Shelley rely on local tourism to boost their family income.
I own a bed and breakfast, and so my wife and I had decided to get ready for the summer rush. I spent 6 hours that day mowing, trimming, making sure that everything looked good.
It's a perfect day to be outside. Clear skies and temperatures in the upper 70s. But less than 100 miles away, across the Minnesota border, an ominous storm system is making its way east towards Siren. At 7:30 p.m., rotating winds swirl inside this supercell thunderstorm along a warm front, stretching across Minnesota and Wisconsin. As professional storm chasers look on, the air is sucked skyward, and a twister is born. The tornado chews up the farmland below it, and it begins moving east. A few minutes later, the funnel pulls back into the storm clouds and disappears behind a wall of rain and hail. Back in Siren, Police Chief Dean Rowland is at home paying bills. He hears a news report that dangerous weather is moving toward his town.
They said that tornadoes had been sighted, approximately 60 miles straight west of Siren.
Rowland knows the town has no way to alert its residents that a twister may be approaching. Ironically, Siren's tornado siren has been broken for weeks.
It had been knocked out of commission in a thunderstorm in April. I knew that no one was on duty in Siren. It was the other officer's day off, and I was on vacation.
Rowland realizes it's up to him to warn the town. He gets dressed and heads out on patrol. Like a modern-day Paul Revere, he cruises through Siren, alerting residents. Still, he finds some people reluctant to heed his warning.
I remember even telling one person to take cover, and he says, "Oh, I'm going to stand out and watch it. I want to see it."
40 miles to the west, storm chasers are still tailing this supercell thunderstorm. At 8:06 p.m., ominous clouds release a second twister. Within seconds, the vortex evolves into a large, wedge-shaped tornado. It's growing, stretching nearly half a mile wide, and shows no signs of stopping. Near the center of town at the Poorhouse Tavern, 29-year-old bartender Chris Cormell is chatting with a regular, Clark Jewell. Clark and Chris hear Chief Dean Rowland's warning. But while watching the weather reports on the bar's TV, they find that they have something in common. They're both avid storm watchers.
I had to go out and watch, see what was happening. We were standing in the parking lot, and the wind picked up, and you could see the wall clouds starting to come into town.
The appearance of a wall-like mass of low-hanging clouds suggests that air is rising rapidly within the storm front. This circulating air is a sign of an approaching tornado.
I was getting excited because I knew something was going to happen, and I've always wanted to see a tornado.
In a small house just behind the bar, the Blaker family, Cindy, her 17-year-old daughter Naomi, and Naomi's stepfather Dick, are enjoying a quiet Monday evening. They haven't heard Chief Rowland's warning, but Dick is watching the news. Naomi has gotten an unexpected rest from her summer job at Dairy Queen.
My boss had called me and said, you know, it's a beautiful day, I have plenty of people to work. I really wanted to go out and enjoy it, but I was really tired.
I dozed off on the couch after supper, and Naomi dozed off. You know, school was out, we were all relaxed, no pressure.
Their calm is going to be shattered. The half-mile wide tornado is 15 minutes away, and it's cutting a path toward their home. Just after 8 p.m., Naomi is awakened in her bedroom by echoing thunder.
I mean, it was banging. It sounded almost like jets.
Boom, all of a sudden, my husband's waking me up. The weather looks bad. Get in the hallway.
It takes Cindy a few moments to get up. She has a spinal cord disorder and uses a wheelchair. Besides, Cindy is not overly concerned until she reaches the hall.
I was just thinking severe storms, and my ears popped. I remember thinking, this is not good. I've never had my ears pop in a storm.
Rapidly, signaling the imminent arrival of a twister. Cindy heads to her daughter's bedroom.
I reached behind me and slammed open her door. I said, Naomi, wake up and get in the hallway, the weather's bad.
I just woken up. Panic thoughts were, you know, they're invading my mind.
Boy, that girl never flew out of her bed so fast. And I said, grab onto the back of my wheelchair and don't let go. And she said, what's happening, Mom? And I said, I think we might have a tornado.
The Blakers' home has no basement, and the narrow corridor offers little protection. Across town, Police Chief Dean Rowland has done his best to empty the streets. Now, he parks his cruiser on the outskirts of Siren and waits.
I looked to the west, and I saw what appeared to be a half-mile wide fog bank coming. And I said to myself, wow, fog, that's really strange.
Rowland cannot actually see the approaching tornado. The rotating system is wrapped in a blanket of driving rain and hail. Suddenly, the car is slammed by ferocious winds. The twister is almost on top of him.
I could hear what sounded like a jet engine, just a roar. And I looked, and I said, that's the tornado. I knew I was in trouble.
The twister is now an F3, 2 notches from the top of the tornado scale. Winds are estimated at 200 miles an hour. Rowland tries desperately to get out of the way.
And I remember saying to God, don't let me die. My daughter's wedding was in 3 weeks, and I just said, don't let me die. I want to go to my daughter's wedding.
Rowland steps on the gas and drives to a lawnmower repair shop. He pulls beneath the building's overhang. A half half mile away, Chris Cormell and Clark Jewell are standing in front of the Poorhouse Tavern, transfixed by the ominous sky.
It was like purple and green, and then there was white. It was just amazing. It was beautiful. Couldn't quit looking at it.
In seconds, the tornado chews through a wooded area and rolls into a field directly across from the tavern. Chris and Clark realize they're staring down a twister.
All of a sudden, it was just this rush. And I saw the trees were just picked up, like somebody just reached down and was plucking the trees out.
They turn back to the Poorhouse Tavern and make a mad dash for cover. Other patrons are huddled in the bar's walk-in cooler. As the two men scramble through the bar, they're pelted with shattering glass and flying nails.
I could see light coming in through the ceilings, where the roof was starting to tear, and you could hear nails pulling, you could hear the wood cracking.
We just got pounded, debris flying everywhere, and bottles and cans.
Clark is just a few steps ahead of Chris. He grabs the handle of the beer cooler's steel door. At that moment, the massive tornado slams into the bar.
The building just went boom, like a major blast just blew it, and the roof lifted up, and the walls went out. I remember yelling to Chris, grab onto me.
I reached down and clamped him on the waist, and just as I did that, the whole roof went, and I just felt really light.
He was actually floating in the air while he was hanging on to me.
Then all at once, quiet descends. Both men look up and get a rare glimpse into the eye of the storm.
It was the most vivid, bright, almost neon green that I could imagine.
Clark even said something about how pretty it was. And then it came through again, and that was it. And then it was ugly.
It's the only time in my life I ever thought I was going to die.
Finally, a compact SUV that's big on style, the Mercury Mariner. A great-looking alternative to Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V. Outside, a distinctive look that'll never get lost in the parking lot. On the highway, it gets up to 26 miles per gallon.
And Mariner is Consumers Digest Best Buy.
The extremely well-equipped Mariner starts at $19,540. Fit your life, fit your budget. That's keeping it simple.
Visit your Lincoln Mercury dealer today.
Saving you up to 60% on cooling. You'd think I'd get a pat on the back. Let me rethink that.
The Carrier Infinity System, the most energy-efficient system you can buy. Carrier, turn to the experts.
Carrier, turn to the experts for all your heating and cooling needs.
The method doctors use to remove warts at the office is now available at home. Dr. Scholl's Freeze Away Wart Remover. Just press and freeze. It safely works with as little as one treatment.
See? That was easy.
To remove warts fast, see the doctor. Dr. Scholl's.
Hey, toilet here. Yes. Thank you. Please stop the running. Not just the old handle jiggle. It's the oldest trick in the book. Still running. Running like a guy who runs a lot.
And verify
Tim,
that the amount being
we got a broken toilet on line 2. Please pick up.
And then remove all the water from the tank. Don't tighten the screw up too tight or you'll crack the porcelain.
Okay. Thanks, Tim. And don't forget to fix that chair.
Ace, the helpful place.
Coleman backs millions of tents with rigorous testing. Every one is designed to protect you from the elements. So no matter what's happening outside, you're happy inside. Coleman, get out in it.
Enter to win $200 in Coleman gear, only at Coleman.com.
Monday, June 18th, 2001, an F3 tornado has slammed Siren, Wisconsin, ambushing the residents of this small town. Trapped inside the local tavern, Clark Jewell and Chris Cormell have watched the center of the tornado pass overhead.
That's something, so scary and could do so much damage, but it was just probably one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
I realized that I was right in the middle of it, then the opposite side of the tornado hit again, and by that time I decided it was time to close my eyes and just hang on.
Where it seems to me it was a couple minutes, it was only a couple seconds. and then it laid us down. It was like it just set me back down.
The twister continues through the village, leaving the ravaged tavern in its wake. Less than 200 yards away, Dick Blaker, his wife Cindy, and her 17-year-old daughter Naomi are trapped in a narrow hallway in their home. Winds up to 200 miles an hour howl around them.
There was a terrible bang, and the glass broke in the living room, and everything was flying.
I could feel and hear like the front of the house kind of collapsing and falling down. And I remember just thinking, you know, oh my God, we're gonna die.
With incredible, the tornado twists the house from its foundation, tossing the Blakers from their shelter.
It lifted us up and then just kind of threw us back. There was boards and debris and house all over us and around us.
All of a sudden we were laying down, and you could see the back of the house.
The terrified family is now buried 6 feet beneath the rubble.
I was covered with the boards, basically. I just had like a little bit of light to see outside. We just all kind of lay there in silence.
On the outskirts of Siren, Police Chief Dean Rowland watches in horror as his town is ripped apart.
I watched buildings pulsate. The roofs would go up and go down as they were struggling to stay attached. There was no way to reason, logic, or control it. I was very scared, and then somewhere in this 33-second period, I looked out. I became extremely calm. The wind was still roaring, but there was a beauty. There was a glistening of colors and sparkly and shimmering, and there was a peace.
Then the tornado moves east, leaving the village of Siren. Chief Rowland quickly makes his way home to check on his wife Shelley. Luckily, his house is intact. Shelley is shaken, but unharmed.
I parked in the middle of the road and ran to the back of my house where my wife met me at the top of the steps, and we both said simultaneously we loved each other, and I was gone.
Chief Rowland knows his work is just beginning. He immediately gets back in his patrol car and heads for the center of town.
There were cars upside down, totally dented. You couldn't get through the road. Trees were sheared, twisted and sheared right off at about 20 feet. It looked like a Hollywood production of a nuclear holocaust. That's where I called for help. And I said, send me ambulances, paramedics, police officers, firemen, National Guard. I need help. Siren's gone.
36-year-old firefighter Chris Cybers has also witnessed the destruction. He and other members of the town's fire department are already hard at work looking for the injured.
As a fireman, there's things that go through your mind that it's going to be one long day, that there's going to be a lot of people hurt.
As Cybers looks out over the devastated town, he can hardly believe his eyes.
Cars were still spinning on their tops when we pulled up. There wasn't a tree standing in that whole area.
Meanwhile, Chief Rowland pulls up in front of what's left of the Poorhouse Tavern.
A good section of the roof over the whole building was gone. I remember one woman coming to me, wrapped her arms around me, screaming, "Make it stop, make it stop, make it go away."
Clark Jewell and Chris Cormell are among those who stagger out of the ruins of the tavern.
Once I saw the bar, I thought that maybe I was going to walk across somebody that didn't make it.
There was water standing in the street and vehicles upside down, crashed up against each other. My car was sitting upside down against the building.
Clark and Chris are not seriously hurt. But across the street, the Blaker family, Dick, Cindy, and 17-year-old Naomi, are still trapped under the rubble that used to be their house.
The front half of the house seemed like it was lifted up and dropped on the back half of the house.
From beneath the wreckage, Cindy tries to comfort her imprisoned family.
We couldn't move, so we kind of held hands. And I asked everyone if they were all right. I'm the mom. I have to be strong in an emergency. Naomi was very frightened. Mom, are we going to die? Mom, are you sure?
I had envisioned in my head that the tornado was going to turn around and come back for us. Because I thought, its goal is to kill us. I almost was thinking it had a mind of its own.
And I kept saying, no, Naomi, we're not going to die. Apparently whatever I said was able to calm her enough that she got that surge of adrenaline.
Somehow, 17-year-old Naomi forces her way out of the rubble.
I didn't know really where they were laying. I knew they were near me. I was almost afraid because I didn't want to step on them.
As Naomi tries to get her bearings, she suddenly becomes aware of a new danger.
We could start to smell gas. And my stepdad's 75 years old, and he has somewhat of a heart problem. And so we knew, okay, he's probably not breathing too well. So I thought, okay, they really need to get out of there.
Leaving her mother and stepfather beneath the ruins, the frightened teenager climbs over debris and sets out on a desperate search for help.
Hey, this is cool. Yeah, it is. But Dad's already got it.
Got that.
He's got that. Got it.
Ooh. Oh, he's got that. He's got that. Well, hello there.
The Home Depot is full of innovative Father's Day gifts, like this Ryobi Air Grip Laser Level for just $39.96. Its vacuum design doesn't damage walls. Or get the best Father's Day card in the world, a Home Depot gift card.
The Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
Hey, Steve, what's this? It's my toilet brush. Whoa. Easy, Cupcake. That's a fresh brush. A flushable brush from scrubbing bubbles. Keep talking. It's the only flushable brush because it breaks up like toilet paper. Leaving your bowl sparkling clean? Yeah. You can't flush those Clorox toilet wand heads, so you can get stuck with over 75 million bacteria. 75 million? They should be paying rent.
Scrubbing Bubbles Fresh Brush. Flush the germy mess away. SC Johnson and Family Company.
Indications are ripe for tornadoes in this residential area. I never used to think that I took life for granted. I know now that, every moment's precious.
Storm Stories, an original series, every night, 8 Eastern and Pacific, on the Weather Channel.
No matter what moves you, Progressive Direct is the insurance expert. For cars, boats, motorcycles, and whatever else you love to drive or ride, we're always focused on making things better and easier. Whether you're getting a quote or getting back on the road, visit Progressive.com. Think easier. Think Progressive.
You've dreamed of it, even fantasized about it. Now make it a reality. Granite countertops for your kitchen and bath from Planet Granite in Pembroke. You've seen their trucks. Now see their selection and find out how easy and affordable granite can be. Granite will enhance the beauty of your kitchen and dramatically increase the value of your home. Buy direct from the experts at Planet Granite, and they'll beat most written estimates. Call Planet Granite or visit the Granite Guys at their showroom on Oak Street in Pembroke.
8:30 p.m., June 18th, 2001. In the small town of Siren, Wisconsin, 17-year-old Naomi Nelson has just survived a terrifying F3 tornado. Her mother and stepfather lie entombed beneath the wreckage of their home. Naomi wanders through the devastated landscape looking for help.
I just looked around, and after all this loudness, after, piercing our ears, all of a sudden it was like a deadly silence. And then I felt like I was the only one.
Gradually, neighbors come out to survey the damage. Naomi tells them that her mother and stepfather are trapped. Within minutes, Police Chief Dean Rowland and Fireman Chris Cybers are on the scene.
It looked like all four walls had pretty much fallen on itself, and the roof was gone. It was very difficult to try to figure out where they were.
Gas is leaking somewhere in the wreckage. The rescuers will have to work quickly. Chris Cybers, along with the Blakers' neighbors, pull off the debris piece by piece.
I could hear them inside yelling for help.
I said, please don't leave us. And he said, I won't. And right there, that's such an emotional feeling. You're trapped, and there's someone out there that says, I won't leave you.
It takes the men several minutes to remove the debris. Finally, the Blakers are freed. Amazingly, they've suffered only minor cuts and bruises. In the end, the twister would travel more than 30 miles, which is unusual in this corner of the Midwest. Although there were no fatalities in Siren, other towns were not so fortunate. 2 people were killed in northwest Wisconsin by the tornado. In Siren, the talk is of heroes. One of them is Clark Jewell, who kept Chris Cormell from being torn away by the tornado.
You just do what's natural. I wouldn't want to see anybody get blown away by a tornado.
Cindy Blaker believes she owes her life to her daughter Naomi.
She saved our lives, and she's kind of modest. She said, no, I didn't. But she did. She got the help to come right away.
I don't think I'm a hero. The heroes are the people that came to my house. The days after, and cleaned up my house.
We would rebuild, and the resolve of the people was just uplifting to me. Even though they lost much, they still had each other.
If you live in an area that does not have tornado sirens, there are other signs that can warn you of an approaching twister. We'll tell you what to look for when Storm Stories returns.
Next up is number 3. Your word is flossy nihilipilification.
FLXCKI.
No hard words.
Can you give it to me in a sentence, please?
That's why Geico.com is so simple. Or is it because you can file a claim, make changes, or pay your bill online? 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Simple as that.
Hello, I'm Lindsay Wagner. You know, if you're frustrated by the quality of your sleep or because you have morning back pain, please give us a call right now. It won't cost you a thing except a minute of your time. We'll immediately send you this free video and brochure with all the details about this amazing bed, including complete descriptions of all our bed models, prices, and options. You'll have all the information you need to make a decision that can truly make a difference in your sleep.
It's been amazing, the difference that the Sleep Number bed has made with my sleep personally. I have not woken up with back pain at all, not once since we've gotten it.
I switched from an innerspring mattress to a Sleep Number bed, and now I sleep better than ever.
It's the only bed I know of that's clinically proven to improve your sleep quality and relieve back pain. And it also costs about the same as a traditional innerspring mattress, yet it lasts twice as long. Now, like most of us, before I got my Sleep Number bed, I used to toss and turn during the night. I'd wake up, roll over, find a comfortable position, and then go back to sleep. But on a Sleep Number bed, I actually sleep all the way through the night. And I didn't realize I wasn't getting a good night's sleep until I experienced one on a Sleep Number bed. I also noticed that I have more stamina during the day, and I know it's because I'm getting a more recuperative sleep. So why don't you call us right now and see if it isn't true for you as well.
Call for your free information kit. Sleep Number beds are easy to own, coming in all standard sizes with queen-size mattresses starting as low as $20 a month. Learn about our 20-year limited warranty and free 30-night in-home trial. Call 1-800-609-7800. On a Sleep Number bed by Select Comfort, you can fall asleep faster, sleep more soundly, and wake up more refreshed. Call 1-800-609-7800. We'll rush you this free video, brochure, and price list. That's 1-800-609-7800. The Sleep Number bed is the key to a perfect night's sleep. Call now.
What type of weather may signal that a tornado could be on its way? A dark or green-colored sky, a large dark low-lying cloud that appears to be rotating, large hail, a loud roar that sounds like a freight train. Remember that you cannot depend on seeing a funnel. Clouds or rain may block your view. Your best defense is to tune into your local TV and radio, especially a NOAA weather radio, to get the latest emergency information. For Storm Stories, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori. Your local forecast is next.
Hi, everyone. Well, stormy weather rumbles in the central U.S. Find out where we could see more severe weather again tonight. And we'll show you the lasting effects from Arlene's remnants in the Midwest. It's all straight ahead right here on the Weather Channel's Evening Edition.